2 Sports, we're going to be treated on Saturday with Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. He is fighting against Matthew Macklin. We bring in Britton Harden. Unfortunately, Robert Exel, I love you to death, but his Skype issues certainly came upon us this morning. So now you guys are unfortunately traded with the two of us. So, okay, Gennady Golovkin, #1 contender. It seems like at 160, 154, he will not go higher, he will not go lower. He's fighting Matthew Macklin. However, let's talk about Triple G for a second. The fight against Ishida was 3 rounds. There wasn't much to it. Paul Williams unfortunately struggled against Nobuhiro Ishida. Unfortunately, you know, everything that happened to him, he was coming back from Sergio Martinez. However, he knocked out Ishida in 3 rounds. It was a brutal, vicious knockout. He looks like the guy that is certainly the #1 contender to fight Andre Ward, but I mean, first, you see boxing from a different perspective sometimes than a lot of other people do. I mean, what do you like about Gennady?
Gennady he has that intimidation factor that, you know, is kind of reminiscent of Mike Tyson. You know, people are afraid to step in the ring with him. They think that, you know, they're going to be able to compete until they feel his power. He is, you know, one of the biggest punchers, one of the greatest knockout artists in the game today. But I also think that his boxing ability is something that I really appreciate about him, and his work ethic. He trains like a horse.
But isn't he susceptible to a lot of counter punches? I mean, it looked like in the fight, not necessarily against Rosado, but oh no, it was against Rosado for a little bit, and a few others that were on demand that I somewhat prepared for this interview. I mean, what I saw is he's susceptible to a lot of overhand lefts, and he's susceptible to a lot of counters. I mean, would that be the way that you would attack him?
I think that what happens with Gennady is I think that he knows that he's strong, and he doesn't necessarily train for a particular kind of fighter. He prides himself on, I'm only going to train one way, and the fighter that I'm fighting is going to have to deal with my style.
What is that one way?
Or I'm not sure the way that he trains. I'm not sure the way that he trains, but in several of the interviews that I've watched between him and his coaches, they have all made claims to not train for any fighter, any one fighter that they fight against.
So they take the page out of Mayweather's book.
Well, you know, actually the Mayweathers, they strategize out of this world, but he doesn't strategize. Mayweather doesn't strategize.
But they don't watch film. They don't do any of that.
No. They have, you know, pride themselves on, I train my fighter to train one specific way, and we'll see what fighter can deal with my fighter style. I think that he knows what he's really good at. He knows that he's strong. He knows that he usually has a size advantage, and he knows that he's a master of fighting at a distance where he can hit you and you can't necessarily hit him unless he engages, and that's where the counter punches come. And when he gets we'll say confident in his style and in his progress in the fight, that's when I think that he becomes susceptible.
Was 26-0. He has 23 knockouts, which is the highest knockout percentage of any active fighter. And he's certainly, I mean, we wouldn't say in the same category as Marvin Hagler. However, Marvin Hagler, I believe, won his first 8. I believe he went on an 8-fight stretch where he knocked out his opponent and won title fights. I believe Golovkin is at 7 right now, so he has a chance to tie Marvin Hagler. However, the way that I think of Golovkin, when you look at him, he's not the biggest guy. He's not, you know, he doesn't look like, oh man, that dude has 23 knockouts. So the way that I would think about him is he has a deceivingly long reach, which it doesn't really look like when you watch the fights, and he has deceiving power. Because again, when you look at him, it doesn't look like he's a guy that has 23 knockouts. I mean, is that a way you would characterize him?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, this guy, he trains really hard, and you know, size doesn't always equate to power. You know, it's power comes with technique, knowing how to throw your punches, knowing what angles in which to throw your punches, and knowing where to hit your opponent. You know, and if you catch somebody off guard with a punch that they don't see coming, it's obviously going to hurt a little bit more than the punches they do see coming.
Absolutely, no, totally. It's like a hit in football. The ones that you don't see, they hurt the most. So Matthew Macklin, 29-4, 20 knockouts. He's 31 years old. He lost to Felix Sturm. He lost to Sergio Martinez. Those were the 2 big losses out of his 4. However, he's game. I mean, that's the best way that I would associate Matthew Macklin. The dude is game.
Absolutely.
He's good. Like, I mean, it's so cliche, but he's gonna show up to fight. He's gonna put on a show. He's gonna stay in there. They're gonna trade. Can he take the punches though from Golovkin?
You know, I don't know if he can, because I don't see. Here's how I broke this fight down.
Yeah.
So you got Sergio Martinez, who is actually naturally a 154 pounder.
Yeah.
He's fighting at 160. I don't see him punching harder than Golovkin. And
You're saying Martinez punching harder than Golovkin?
no,
Or Macklin?
Martinez does not punch harder than Golovkin.
Okay.
He has an elusive style, a difficult style, an in and out style that kind of gave Macklin problems. But it's going to be different when you have somebody that knows that they're strong and they're looking to hurt you and they're looking to hunt you down and looking to walk you down. You know, you have to hit that person with a punch that makes them respect you, makes them think twice about walking in on you. And although I think that Macklin he's going to be strong, he's going to be competitive, and I think it's going to be a tough fight for the two men. What I've noticed in Macklin's losses, they all seem to be that when, you know, it's going down
Like
the
the
stretch,
fifth round, sixth round hit?
fifth, sixth, seventh round, you start to see him deteriorating by the eighth, ninth round. If he's been hit with some really tough punches or some punches that he hasn't seen coming, you know, I don't know if it's his fortitude, I don't know if he has stamina issues, but he just seems to not have what he had in the first 4 rounds, to me. And that is ultimately what has equated in his 4 losses.
So would you say, I mean, it seems so drastic, and it simply won't happen for a guy who's 31 years old. So throw age out, because they're both 31.
Yeah.
You're asking a guy to change his style then, it sounds like.
Absolutely, because, well, number one is with his strength and conditioning. You know, if conditioning is the issue, then that's a completely different beast in its own. You know, the problem won't be fixed, especially the night before, well, yeah, the day before the fight. Mm-hmm. But if it's an issue of him just not being able to take the punches, then, you know, he's in the wrong weight class. And if he's in the wrong weight class, where does he compete? You know, we don't know how much weight Macklin has to lose to make 160, but if he can't take the punches at 160 from Gennady Golovkin, who's probably the biggest puncher in the division, he can't take punches from somebody in the higher weight classes at all.
Last question about Golovkin. Does it look like, at least to me, does it look like he has somewhat of an awkward style? Because he kind of goes in there, he does a little shoulder shimmy. You could say Antoine Walker, like, no, I'm just kidding. And he kind of does his shoulder thing, and he lands his punches, he gets out. I'm not going to say that he's a Pacquiao, because Pacquiao is going in there like this.
He's a lot of,
you know, Golovkin does like a fourth of what Pacquiao does with his hand movements, his shoulder movements.
I think that when I look at him, when I look at Pacquiao, I think that's natural. When I look at Golovkin, I kind of think that he does that moving to remind himself that he needs to have constant head movement, because he is a pressure fighter. Pressure fighters like to come forward. They like to break you down. But when you come forward, you're also susceptible to counter shots. Mm-hmm. So I think that he does that as a constant reminder. Like, it's something that he's picked up in his training that, you know, it's a reminder to himself, if I don't keep moving my head, my opponent's going to move it for me by way of his fist.
Okay, interesting. Never thought about that. That's why we have you on. So, okay, really quickly, Matthew Macklin and Gennady Golovkin. I believe John Anarola said that the fight is at the MGM Grand in Foxwoods, Connecticut. So, what do you think? Final decision. Yeah.
My final decision, I'm going to have to take Gennady Golovkin by way of his power, his ability to create distance and hit, and from a distance where he can hit you and not be hit, and just overall pressure, man. I think Macklin's going to be susceptible to the pressure, and I think he's going to break down. I see this fight not going more than 10 rounds.
Okay, basically the talk that we just had about Macklin breaking down through 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on, I say it ends at 8.
Yeah.
Because again,
I can see that.
His power is so deceiving.
Yeah.
Because you just look at his body build, you look at his structure. That's not a guy who has 23 knockouts. But then you look at what he did to Rosado.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I mean, he beat the crap out of him,
Yeah.
and they had to stop the fight because the cut was so bad. You heard in the corner on a feature that HBO did. Yeah. Your son is gonna die. I have to stop the fight.
I have to stop the fight.
I mean, that's power, man.
I can tell you right now, and my right eye is.
Your left eye.
My left eye, sorry, is I'm still dizzy from last night. Is a a testament to, you don't have to be a big person to, hit hard. I was fighting someone who was, a little bit smaller than me, and he just got in a good, clean shot. I felt it.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
How tall was the guy?
He was probably about 5'6".
Same weight?
No, much smaller than me. I outweighed him by 40 pounds.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but he just knows how to put leverage on his shot, and it comes from leverage. Like I often explain to you, power punching comes from the legs. And when you're standing up tall and you're moving away from your punches, and you're trying to be fleeting with your punches, you're not going to have anything on them. But when I can punch hard, and you're willing to engage, and you kind of sit down on your shots, amazing things can happen for you. And Gennady Golovkin goes into every one of his fights with that confidence. So,
and we'll wait and see what happens Saturday night.
See what happens Saturday night.
It's Britton Harden. You can follow him on Twitter at CoolAsBritton. All right, Twitter is CoolAsBritton. Instagram is GreatAsBritton. You can mock him for me.
I'm gonna fix this for you, Rick. I'm gonna get it all in.
I like consistency. And have fun watching the fight. We'll see you next week.